The Big Bang Theory and Its Evidence. By Luke Backhouse, Dantae and John. The theory of the Big Bang Theory. There are four main theories that support the Big Bang Theory. The first is the redshift of galaxies. The redshift of galaxies is the theory that the universe is probably expanding, which means that one day the universe must have been squashed into a tiny dot. The eruption from the dot was the Big Bang. The second theory is the microwave background. The microwave background theory pretty much suggests that because the universe used to be really hot, that heat must have been created by the Big Bang. The third is the mixture of elements. As the universe expanded and cooled down, elements were created, and the Big Bang theory predicts the amount of each element that was made. The fourth theory is looking back in time. Because it takes light a long time to travel across the universe, when we look at very distant galaxies we are actually looking back in time, and it shows that the universe was a lot different back then than it is now, and this fits the Big Bang theory. Our galaxy. Our galaxy contains 8 main planets: Earth, Mercury, Saturn, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, Neptune, and Uranus. Other important planets in our galaxy are the Sun and the Moon. A star's life cycle is determined by its mass. The larger the mass, the shorter the life cycle. A star's mass is determined by the amount of matter that is available in its nebula, the giant cloud of gas and dust in which it is born. Over time, gravity pulls the hydrogen gas in the nebula together and it begins to spin. As the gas spins faster and faster, it heats up and is known as a protostar. Eventually the temperature reaches 15 million C and nuclear fusion occurs in the cloud's core. The cloud begins to glow brightly. At this stage, it contracts a little and becomes stable. It is now called a main sequence star and will remain in this stage, shining for millions or billions of years to come. As the main sequence star glows, hydrogen in the core is converted into helium by nuclear fusion. When the hydrogen supply in the core begins to run out, the core becomes unstable and contracts. The outer shell of the star, which is still mostly hydrogen, starts to expand. As it expands, it cools and glows red. The star has now reached the red giant phase. It is red because it is cooler than it was in the main sequence star stage, and it is a giant because the outer shell has expanded outward. All stars evolve the same way up to the red giant phase. The amount of mass a star has determines which of the following life cycle paths it will take after the red giant phase. How life began and humans came to be. The cyanobacteria have an extensive fossil record. The oldest known fossils are cyanobacteria. At right is a layered stromatolite, produced by the activity of ancient cyanobacteria. The minerals, along with grains of sediment precipitating from the water, were then trapped within the sticky layer of mucilage that surrounds the bacterial colonies, which then continue to grow upwards through the sediment to form a new layer. As this process occurred over and over again, the layers of sediment were created. These minerals and grains of sediment were enough for RNAi life forms to come into being. One view is that an RNAi world existed on Earth before modern cells arose. RNAi stored both genetic information and catalyzed the chemical reactions in primitive cells. This enabled very simple life forms to exist on Earth. Only later in evolutionary time did DNA take over as the genetic material and proteins become integral component of cells. The transition from the RNAi to the DNA world was a major event in the history of life. The invention of DNA required the appearance of enzymatic activities for both synthesis of DNA precursors, retrotranscription of RNAi templates and replication of single and double-stranded DNA molecules. All of the living creatures that have lived on Earth are known as DNA life forms. The first ever DNA life forms to live were prehistoric marine life, which were mainly bacteria and small marine life forms. After them came the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs were mainly reptiles that ruled the planet for millions of years. Next came the prehistoric mammals, which were mainly large warm-blooded animals such as the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger. The next generation of DNA life forms were the animals that exist today, such as this platypus. Evolution is the change in the inherited characteristics of biological populations over successive generations. All life on Earth is descended from a last universal ancestor that lived approximately 3.5 to 3.8 billion years ago. Charles Darwin was the first to formulate a scientific argument for the theory of evolution by means of natural selection. Evolution by natural selection is a process inferred from three facts about populations. More offspring are produced than can possibly survive. Traits vary among individuals, leading to different rates of survival and reproduction, and trait differences are heritable. When members of a population die, they are replaced by parents better adapted to survive and reproduce in the environment in which natural selection takes place. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.